Hey everyone, my name is James and welcome back to Terraria. So in today's video, I'm going to be reading you the Lore of Terraria. This is the secret story behind the game that we all love, and it was released today to celebrate the 8-year anniversary of Terraria, which is an amazing milestone. We've never really had lore in Terraria before, so let me know with a like rating whether you enjoy what you hear today, and leave me a comment if you think you would do it differently. So, with that out the way, let's begin. Welcome to the world of Terraria, a land full of mystery and wonder, with much of its destiny left up to the wildest imaginations. However, a few legends of old have made their way to our present time. Passed down by countless generations of the Order of the Guide, these few scraps of information will serve to help you navigate your journey and overcome threats lurking in the shadows. This knowledge is now passed on to you, the brave adventurer, with the hope that it will aid you in your quest to save our world. In the beginning, the gods established a balance to guarantee the fairness for all living creatures. This balance was to be of paramount importance, with no cost too great in seeking its fulfillment. Eons had passed since the gods first began testing the complexity of life in their fairness experiment. In this process, countless living worlds were created and now exist within the Terraria universe. Each world of Terraria is a sentient being that knows all that goes on and can feel the thoughts of all living creatures, with their sole purpose being to ensure that the desired balance is maintained, often violently so. The world utilizes many defensive mechanisms to ensure the balance is upheld at all costs. Some of them are known as the Hallowed, the Corruption, and the Crimson. The Crimson is a single emergent living being connected directly to each world, sharing a hive mind and solely focused on restoring balance at all cost. Thousands of worlds before the one on which you stand now have been absorbed by this being. Many misguided people have made the horrific mistake of raising the Crimson to the level of a deity, conducting human sacrifices to placate the monstrosity or seek its favour. The Crimson gladly consumes these bodies, becoming one of them and producing terrifying beings, all who lose the ability to feel and blindly follow the hive mind. The Corruption is a cancer caused by the sins of those living in the worlds of Terraria. The vile actions and thoughts present in all beings feed the growth of the Corruption as it spreads relentlessly across each world. The Corruption knows nothing else but to consume everything it touches, leaving behind terrible creatures of hate that exist for the sole purpose to cause pain in punishment for the unearned pleasure experienced by living creatures. After the Corruption restores balance to life, it destroys it with the goal of turning the world into a desolate abyss void of life. The Hallow. The Hallow, on the other hand, is an entirely different nature. Within each world is a guardian who serves as the world's master and core. Once this creature is destroyed, and the world will release the ancient spirits of light and dark to expedite the process of finding a new guardian. It is here when the Hallowed is created, and functions as an overcompensation of purity taken to the absolute extreme. The Hallow cures threats that would attempt to violate the critical balance of life, killing anything in its path as though it were being treated as an infection, whether friend, foe, or neutral party. Ultimately, the Hallowed serves to push good back against the never-ceasing encroachment of control. It is against the backdrop of this precious balance of life, desolation and pain that the great battles of legend and the adventures of our time take place. In the blind spot of the universe, there exists a planet of unprecedented potential, your world. Your story begins with Cthulhu, a creature of immeasurable power and unknown origin, who arrived long ago with its seemingly sole purpose being to rain destruction on and to have domination of all sentient life that flourish on your world. None could stand against the advances of Cthulhu. The very fabric of Terraria itself seemed on the precipice of doom. At last, when all hope seemed lost, the ancient race of Dryads arose to wage war against Cthulhu. The Dryads, with their unparalleled connection to the earth, were Terraria's truly last hope as they joined together to save all life from annihilation. The Dryads were alas unable to kill Cthulhu. However, with the Dryads' combined power, they were able to cripple Cthulhu's ability to wreak further damage on Terraria by ripping out Cthulhu's eyes, part of its skeleton and chunks of its brain. Ultimately, the sustainable damage forced Cthulhu to retreat to the dark side of the moon, where it dwells to this day, gathering strength for another attempt at total conquest. As for the Dryads, sadly all but a single member perished, and the sole survivor has not been seen for many, many years. Much time has passed since the Great War of Cthulhu. However, rumours tell of a lunatic cult led by a fanatical zealot that is methodically seeking to revive Cthulhu to its former power and bring about the end of the world. As part of these efforts, a renowned genius simply known as the Mechanic has been kidnapped and forced to rebuild the parts needed to make Cthulhu whole once again. Hushed whispers tell of the results of these experiments, horrible mechanical simulacrums of Cthulhu's organs. The Mechanic has nearly completed her work, only needing to finish the mechanical brain to restore Cthulhu to its destructive power. That's why we don't have the mechanical hive mind, isn't it? Oh, that's good. I like that. Passing travellers hear construction and screams emanating from the dungeon, an evil demonic fortress of the dead in which the Mechanic is supposedly held prisoner as she conducts her work. Many across Terraria have fallen under the possession of the cult, including the benevolent old man who oversees the dungeon, a once thriving city full of life until a curse forced all of its inhabitants to go mad, living beyond the point where their bodies rotted away and they became mindless undead servants of evil. Without some intervention, some force to stem this tide, some hero to save the day, Terraria's doom is nigh at hand. This brings us to our adventure. It begins with you, in humble beginnings and shown your path by a fateful and mysterious guide. As this world's champion, you will experience communications from the world to help protect your mission. The world has brought you to this specific location at this specific time. Will you stand up and fight for Terraria against the growing shadows of impending doom? So now that the lore reading is done, it actually took a lot longer than I first anticipated. There's quite a lot there to read. I wanted to share some thoughts about the lore of Terraria. So for a little bit of context, I'm not somebody who cares too much about the lore of a game. When I play Terraria, I see it as a blank canvas. You can decide to paint your story or you can ignore it. And I kind of fall on the side of just ignoring the story completely. So having this available to us as an option, I think is a nice addition. Maybe we could sneak this into the game file somehow. Maybe it's in the options menu so you can read about the game. But my thoughts are this. I really enjoyed the part about the Mechanic being forced to build the mechanical bosses. I'd never really thought about where they came from, but having the Mechanic do it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, that part about not having a mechanical brain did make me chuckle, and I feel like it kind of opens the door if they ever want to do this alternate reality post-Moonlord system where you could have the mechanical brain be this thing that happens after the Moonlord, and bam, you've now got a harder version of the Moonlord because it has its mechanical brain. I don't know where I'm going with that. Look, I'm not a lore writer myself, but I thought that was very interesting. I am deeply saddened that we don't have the lore of the Red Hat. I mean, that's all I was holding out for. When I signed up for Terraria 8 years ago, I thought one day I will find out where the Red Hat came from. But not today, maybe the 10th anniversary, I don't know. So I really hope you enjoyed sticking with me over these past few years. This does feel like an anniversary for myself as much as it does Terraria. I remember when this game was coming out, it was like the biggest thing. I saw the Yogscast play it. I remember sending this little email to Red saying that I was a YouTuber and I would love to play it because he was giving out some early copies. I was like 14. I maybe had 50 subscribers. Unfortunately, Red never got back to me, so I had to get it on release day like everyone else, and it just blew my expectations out of the water. The fact that they kept updating the game so frequently was something I wasn't used to. I was playing a lot of Minecraft at the time, and that would get updates, but it was so slow. Terraria was popping out updates every few weeks, it felt like, just adding loads of new stuff like wardrobes, adding clothes, more hair, the clothier, you know, pretty iconic. And it was great. I really have enjoyed my time playing the game over the past 8 years. I'm very excited for 1.3.6, as I'm sure you can imagine. And this is great. This was a really cool anniversary. So thank you to Red and Senex and all of Relogic as always, but they hear that from me all the time. Thank you all for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.